and welcome everyone. Welcome to USBC's partnership with Verizon Small Business Digital Ready. And today we are presenting a very special webinar, How to Sell and Market Online. And on behalf of our president, Ron Busby Sr., our board, our chambers, and our hardworking staff, behind the scenes, we have Tiffany Mays producing the show. I want to thank you all for attending. Now, I'm Philip W. Dunn, the USBC Chamber and Business Engagement Manager with the U.S. Black Chambers, Inc. And we're affectionately known as the global voice of Black businesses. And we represent over 170 Black chambers of commerce and small businesses across the nation. And we're founded on 6 pillars of service. Those are advocacy, access to capital, contracting, entrepreneurial training, chamber development, and information. Now, before I introduce today's agenda, I encourage you all to drop your questions into the chat. Drop your questions into the Q&A as well. Let me just make sure that they are open for everyone so that you can get all your information in there. And I want to make sure that you drop your name, first name, business name, chamber name into the chat so that we can recognize you. Now, we're going to work to address as many questions as possible toward the end of the presentation. So we encourage you all to drop those questions into the chat and into the Q&A. Now, today we have some very special guests that are here, and they're going to share some information with you all. We have Emily Lindo, who is going to share some information. She's going to walk us through the Verizon Small Business Digital Ready platform, which is a free personalized learning platform designed to equip small businesses with the digital skills and resources very much needed to thrive in today's economy. And this is very important for our small business members and associates here at US Black Chambers, Inc., because things are changing very rapidly. And we want to be able to equip you with the information you need in order to do the work that you need to do. Now, this program, it offers a wide range of support. It includes self-paced courses, one-on-one coaching. There's some community events kind of baked in there, and there's so much more. So what I'd like to do, I'd like to bring Emily to the stage to share some information about Verizon Small Business Digital Ready. Welcome, Emily.
Thanks, Phil. And thanks also to USBC for having us today. Really excited about today's workshop that you'll be hearing from Melinda. But first, I'm going to just talk a little bit about Digital Ready and just kind of what can you expect if you register for the platform. So in 2020, Verizon made a 10-year commitment that in 2030, Verizon will provide 1 million small businesses with resources to help them thrive in the digital economy. I am pleased to say that earlier this spring, we've hit that halfway mark of about 500,000 small businesses that have been on the platform. So very exciting that we're moving very positively towards that goal. The purpose of this platform is Verizon knows that small business owners wear a ton of different hats. You're often in charge of finances, your marketing, your social media, your operations, and then actually doing whatever your business is, that product or service. So this platform is created to help give you those tools to make some of those jobs easier for you. So if we go to next slide, yeah. The Small Business Digital Ready platform has a ton of different resources. So as you can see that there's over 60 courses, there's a ton of expert events, virtual and then also in person. There's networking events that happen online or in person, and then also different offers. We give out $10,000 grants throughout the year. There's a funding marketplace, and then also a ton of different product discounts. As you can see, there is the QR code to register if you are interested, but you can also wait to see to the end. You will get a sneak peek of what some of the courses will look like. Melinda is doing one of her workshops, and it's very similar to one of the many that she has on the platform. So use that as a testament to the kind of quality and the kind of content that you would find on this platform. I'm going to just do a little bit of a deeper dive into some of the different resources that I kind of briefly overviewed. So as I said that We have about 60 plus courses. All the topics are a variety from branding to connecting with your customers to cybersecurity, protecting your business. All the courses include videos, quizzes, downloadable tools, and resources. So you're able to get the full learning experience. We have a ton of the courses that are translated into Spanish, and then a number of them in Chinese subtitles, and we're continuing to grow those translated courses as the program continues to evolve. Next, we have these different expert events. These events happen in person or on the platform itself virtually. Um, these workshops are led by industry leaders, and a lot of them are focused on Q&A. And then we have hands-on help, and that's a little bit more of that one-on-one sessions that you're able to get that personalized support from an industry expert. Next, we have networking. Those focuses on small business chats, peer-to-peer check-ins, and in-person events. The small business chat and peer-to-peer both happen virtually and gives you a chance to connect with your peers and network with them there. Sorry. Excuse me. And then finally, offers and grants. So as you may know, we are in grant season, so we do have $10,000 grants that you can apply for at the end of today's session. Leah's going to talk a little bit more in depth about what will make you eligible for that. But along with that, we also have a funding marketplace that has a ton of different loans and grants from responsible lenders, and then also offers, so like different products and services. So like there's a QuickBooks one on there, there's a Constant Contact one, and we're continuing to grow those different offers that are there. Now I'm going to hand it back to Phil to.
Emily, I tell you what, I definitely appreciate you for sharing that information. I do have one question to ask, and you alluded to it earlier, the partnership between USBC, Verizon Small Business Digital Ready. Tell us about the importance of this partnership.
It is really important. I think that Verizon knows that USBC works so closely with a ton of small businesses, and you all are the ones that are able to actually on the ground working with small businesses one-on-one. Outside of being able to share this resource with your small businesses, USBC also provides feedback to Verizon itself. So when things aren't helpful for small businesses or not great on the platform, we hear that and then we're like, okay, how do we make this better? And I think it's a great relationship and that it goes both ways.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Emily. We definitely appreciate your partnership and your support for our small businesses and our chambers. Thank you so much. All right. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce today's main speaker who will lead us through an interactive session. Her name is Melinda Emerson. And now, Melinda is the CEO of Quintessence Group, the best-selling author, keynote speaker, Verizon Small Business Digital Ready subject matter expert. And as CEO of smallbusinessladyuniversity.com, she develops education and training materials for small business owners and partners with Fortune 500 brands. So she doesn't just do this for small businesses, she works with large businesses as well. Now, she also makes sure that they serve small businesses too. Now, she's a former New York Times columnist, and she's an award-winning blogger. Melinda has written over 5,000 articles on small business tactics and success. Now, her advice is widely read. She reaches more than 1 million entrepreneurs weekly online. She hosts the Small Biz Chat podcast and is the best-selling author of Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months. Now, in this workshop, Melinda will walk us through the skills and strategies needed to sell and market online to your audience and to drive business success today. Now, in today's digital age, high quality content is essential for attracting, engaging, and converting customers. So what I'd like to do is have you all welcome Melinda and just drop a 1 in the chat just to let us know that you're all engaged and ready to receive the information that Melinda has. So without further ado, I want to thank you, Melinda, for being here today, and I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you so much. If you guys could take that slide deck down, I'll pop my slide deck up. All right. Now we are ready to go. I'm so excited to be here with you all today. We are going to be talking about how to sell and market online. So I have a question for you guys. How many of you guys are ready to build an online selling machine? I'm going to follow Phil. Put a one in the chat. Tell me, are you ready to build an online selling machine? Because that is what we are talking about today. So now, as Phil said, my name is Melinda Emerson, but my nickname is the Small Biz Lady, and my mission is to end small business failure. That's what I'm about. That's why I'm here today. I've been an entrepreneur, believe it or not, for over 25 years. And before any of you guys ask, yes, I started when I was 12. Now, I am an international keynote speaker. I'm the best-selling author of Become Your Own Boss in 12 months, but I have lots of content hubs that can support you all as well. I have an online school, Small Biz Lady University, the Small Biz Chat podcast, and I publish a resource blog with over 5,000 articles. Anything you can imagine. All you have to do is go to my search bar and check it out. And you can find that at succeedasyourownboss.com. I also work with Fortune 500 brands that support small business owners, including Verizon, Amazon, Visa, FedEx, and Google. But let me tell you about my reach, because a lot of times people are like, she reaches a million people. No, no, let me break this down for you guys. I have over all of my social media over 700,000 followers. And then our subscribers to our email list, my newsletter, as well as my podcast, that is how we get to a million. And I've had the opportunity to train entrepreneurs all over the world, from US, Europe, Latin America, Africa, and Southeast Asia. So this, my jam is training entrepreneurs. So I am so excited to be here with you guys today. So let me tell you guys what you're going to learn. First of all, I'm going to show you how to grow your revenues with e-commerce. Secondly, I'm going to talk to you about how to build a brand online, because anybody can sell stuff, but I'm going to talk to you about how to build a brand. And lastly, I'm going to show you how to sell online when you don't have money to buy ads, because that's a lot of things, people feel like, I got to buy these Facebook ads. It's better if you do, but if you don't, I'm going to show you how to do that too. All right, so let's talk about online sales. Why is it important? Well, the reason why you want to build an online sales engine is because you want to be making money when you are asleep. You want to be able to reach your customers anytime, anywhere, all over the world. And the best thing about selling online is the overhead is low. And here is a statistic I want you guys to think about. By 2040, industry experts say that around 95% of all purchases will be made via e-commerce. So, what that means is it doesn't matter what you sell, you have to know how to sell online. And that's what I'm going to drill in for you guys today. So, when it comes to online selling, it starts with what I call the four-legged stool of online marketing. And here's the thing, your website is your number one sales tool. You really do. I know some of you guys have Amazon stores, some of y'all selling on Instagram and Facebook, but listen to me carefully. You never want to build a house on land you do not own. You always want to make sure that you can transact business on your own website. So if you know what I'm talking about, put a one in the chat for me, because your website is your welcome mat into your business. It is your number one sales tool, and it is important. And here's the deal, guys. If your website sucks, please focus on it, because it does not make sense for you to be out here using social media where the whole goal is to drive traffic back to your website if your website is terrible. And what do I mean by terrible? Well, if it loads slow, if you don't have lead magnets there, if people can't really figure out that you're talking to them, yeah, that's what makes a website not good. So, and you also want to make sure that it looks good from a mobile device, because 25% of people now only really operate on the internet from a phone. So you want to make sure not everybody's using a laptop or a desktop. So you want to make sure that you can reach your customers where they are with whatever technology they are using. Now, once you get your website straight, well, how are you going to draw people to your website? Content. You got to have a content strategy. But listen, I know some of y'all are like, I hated writing when I was in school. It's okay. There's lots and lots of ways to build great content. You can do videos, you can do podcasts, you can do quotes, you can do pictures. Listen, if you sell something that is visually appealing, you should always have your camera running. People love behind the scenes footage, but you have got to have a consistent content strategy. It's critical. And then once you have your content strategy, then it's time to look at your social media strategy and engagement. Now, some of y'all, unless you sell social media services, you don't need to be on 5 social media pages. You just don't. What I want you to think about is the one or two where your best target customer spends most of their time online. But here's the thing you got to realize: the average small business owner is exposed to 3 to 4,000 marketing images a week and remembers 3 or 4 of them. So there's a lot of touches you have to do to get a stranger to know who you are. And one of the best ways that you can build rapport and nurture a relationship with a target customer is email. Look, guys, social media is great, but email's trackable. So I really want you guys to think about how you are positioned around these 4 pillars because they all work together. It's like making gumbo without the sausage. Why would you do that, right? You wouldn't. So you want to make sure that the website, the content strategy, the social media engagement, and the email all work together to create a flywheel for you of constant new leads. Now, let me show you how that works. All right, so let's talk about what the real problem is. Some of y'all think y'all have, that you are struggling with selling online. I promise you it's not the selling. Let me tell you what the real problem is. It is your messaging. Who are you talking to? And do they know you're talking to them? Some of y'all are struggling with online sales because you're not communicating who you help, what you offer, and why it matters right now. You don't have a way to make it urgent. And that is really what you're struggling with. So here's my first message to you: fix the message. Make sure it's clear who you are. I'm the small biz lady. My mission is to end small business failure. There's nobody that comes to my website that don't know what I do, right? And I'm consistent, and I've been consistent off on all of my little profiles on my social media sites. A lot of times, some of you guys have one thing on your website, and then I look at your Twitter profile or I look at your IG, and now I know you're a swim dad or, a Ravens fan. Irrelevant information that's not going to help me hire you. So it's really important for you to fix your message because once you fix your message, you'll fix your money. Now, let's drill down. How do you figure out what products or services you want to sell online? Well, listen, it doesn't matter. You can sell books, you can sell candles, you can sell artwork, you can sell food products, you can sell services. It just really doesn't matter what you sell. You just have to know who you're selling to. So the first thing I want you to figure out is who is your target customer. And if everybody can use your product or service, hear me clearly, nobody is using it. So you want to specialize in serving a specific group of people. Now, you got to figure out what their challenge is. Where is their pain? People are not buying stuff, they're buying solutions. So you really want to make sure that you understand their pain and that you can empathize with their pain so that you can develop a successful strategy for that. And then because you want to be the painkiller, right? You're not trying to be a vitamin. You want to be the painkiller. You want to fix their problem. Now, once you decide all that, then the next thing you got to figure out is your marketing strategy. How are you going to attract and engage customers? A lot of times I hear people say, I'm up on Amazon. And, they sell ads on Amazon too. You've got to figure out how you're going to stand out on Amazon because it's no different from searching something on Google. You're going to click on the first 3 things you see. You're not going to the second page. And that's true even on Amazon. Then you got to figure out what your pricing strategy is going to be. Are you selling products? Do you have to purchase inventory? Are you manufacturing products? I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. Now, the other thing you got to think about is let's say you are selling on a platform like Etsy, eBay, something like that. You have to make sure that their fees are included in your price. Otherwise, you could be selling stuff and not making any money because you're not really tracking your margin. So it is really important that you think through your pricing strategy. Now, the number one reason why people abandon carts online is shipping charges. So, as much as possible, you want to roll whatever shipping charges you got into the price because people leave when they see crazy shipping charges. So you want to think about all of this stuff in your pricing strategy before you go out there with something. Because let me tell you guys something, the race to the bottom is a race nobody wins. You don't ever want to be the cheapest option when it comes to selling anything. So you want to make sure that your pricing strategy is fair to your customers and fair to you because you're not running a charity. You got to make some money. So, one of my really good friends and another Verizon subject matter expert, he always says this. He said, "You make your money when you purchase your product, not when you sell it." So, you need to make sure that you have some really good strategic sourcing going on that so that you pay as little as possible so your margin can be as big as possible. Very important. Now, let's talk about how to sell and market, the things that you have to manage. Well, first of all, you got to have money. Even though you're an online business, don't think you don't have to have any money to sell stuff. You also have to have motivation. A lot of times, if you're selling online, you might be a team of one, right? And one really is the loneliest number. So you've got to make sure you've got some buddies you can call so that you can get motivated on the days when it's hard, right? On the day when you get an awful email from a client who wants their money back and they're a jerk, right? So you want to make sure that you have good people around you. You also have to put in consistent effort. It's not if you build it, they will come. That's not it. You got to let people know you're out here. You do need to have some technical know-how. You've got to be able to take pictures of your stuff. You got to be able to put it on a white background, all that stuff, good lighting, everything else. You also need to have to understand how to run your own website. Now, there are some great plug and play options. You've got the Shopify's out here, you've got Thrivecart, all kinds of other stuff, but you just have to make sure that you know how to fix stuff or that you have a guy that you can call, right? One of my friends, Mike, he always says, I got a guy, right? So you got to make sure that you have a resource in place for your online business because your customer service and how fast you get back to people and resolve people's issues has everything to do with whether or not you're going to get punched in the face in a Yelp review or an Amazon review. And then there's branding. And branding is really important because unless you're selling one thing, you got to build a brand. So let's talk about the 9 things you need to know to run an online business. First of all, the competition is fierce and it is the wild, wild west. Literally, one of your competitors could steal every word off your website and put up another website tonight and be up in business. So what you got to understand is that you've got to be ready. You've got to stay on top of stuff. You got to have, you got to know what your keywords are. And depending on what industry you're in, your keywords could be changing every 6 to 8 weeks. So it's really important. You've got to develop a niche audience. You must be the best solution for a specific group of people. And people love buying from people who specialize in solving their problem. And isolation is hard, right? You want to make sure that you build a network of other online sellers, or, even like your local chamber is a great way to build a network, right? The African American Chamber. I'm here in Philadelphia. I'm a proud member of the African American Chamber in Philadelphia. And so that is a network that I have that serves me in and outside of my business. Now, let's talk more about what you need to understand. If you're selling online, your product descriptions are everything because you got to figure you're selling something that people can't taste or touch. So the only way you're going to get them to buy it from you is if you describe it in a way that makes it like, Lord, I have to have this. Think about how, quick serve restaurants sell us food. You might not even be hungry, but you're sitting there looking at TV and all of a sudden, here's a Big Mac commercial and it's coming and they got the 360 of it and you see that cheese bubbling and they talk about special sauce lettuce cheese, right? And because of the way they describe it and the visual you're seeing, all of a sudden you hungry, right? The same thing is true for how you have to sell your stuff. You have to describe it like it is the most savory thing anybody ever touched. Or, I'm buying a leather jacket, I want to hear about the butter leather, how soft is it, right? All of that stuff is important because your product descriptions really make or break your conversion rate. So you need to test those. You need to change them if they're not converting, because they are everything. And content is critical. A lot of times people that sell products think they don't need to have content. That's not true. That doesn't make sense. And certainly, if you're a professional service business, you already know that you have to build thought leadership and authority online. But product based businesses be like, I don't have to do that. I just have to sell my cookies. Yeah, no. You've got to develop some kind of content strategy. And you guys, video is converting better than any other type of content. So you really want to think about how you can develop some content that's not a super burden on you, but this helps people get to know you, get to know your brand. If you sell cookies, do a cooking demonstration, right? You sell hair care products, show people how to take care of their natural hair, right? There's a lot of us natural girls walking around. So it is very important for you to think about how you can connect with your audience in an authentic way that doesn't feel like, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. Oh, by the way, buy my stuff, right? I want you to definitely do direct appeals for people to buy, but that can't be 70% of what you're posting. Everything else needs to be about pouring into your target audience. And online reviews are everything. You want to make sure that you engage your customers 4 to 7 days after they've taken delivery of your product or service to ask them how it went. And if they are happy, would they mind giving you a recommendation? Very important. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I go to Amazon and I'm seeing brands I've never heard of, I go to the reviews. And if it doesn't have at least 1,000 reviews, I won't even consider buying it. So those are the things that I want you guys to think about, and as it relates to how you can position your business, because a third party recommendation is way more powerful than anything you'll say for yourself. So whether you sell services, the other way that I do this in my business, whenever I work with coaching clients or I speak for an organization like this wonderful chamber today, I always ask them when I'm done, would you mind giving me a review on LinkedIn? And why is that important? Well, because I don't like to have to convince people that I can solve their problem. I want them to know when they meet me, when they go Google me and see that I have like 100 recommendations on LinkedIn, and they go, wow, this lady must be amazing. All these people are saying she's amazing, right? So that's what I'm saying about, you never know how people are going to search about you or what they're going to learn from you. So whether you are selling products and you can get an online review on Yelp or Google reviews or Facebook reviews, or as a professional service business, you can rack up reviews too. The point is that people need to know about you. People need to know what it's like to work with you. People need to know, do you deliver on time and on budget? Those things are really important. And so you want to get in the habit of reaching out 4 to 7 days after they took delivery, checking in and asking for that recommendation. So put that link right in that email asking for the recommendation. All right, so here's the other thing you got to do. You got to watch industry trends. Let's say you sell jewelry. Well, there's trends that happen in jewelry, right? And so you want to make sure that you're paying attention to fashion trends and consumer behaviors and listening to, the jobs report and stuff like that so that you understand where the economy is going. Now, we are in the Super Bowl of product-based businesses right now. The holiday season, I mean, Thanksgiving is next week. So it is really important that if you sell something, that you have your Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale going right now, and that you put it out there so that people can take advantage. And people love a discount. And don't be chintzy with it. Like 10% is not enough, right? Holiday discounts need to be like 20, 25% minimum. Or buy one, get one, something like that. And then the other thing you've got to do is you've got to be able to friend raise. I cannot stress this enough because sometimes things happen. Things get lost in the mail. You want to make sure that you have a really good, strong relationships with all of the people who are connected to your business, your vendors, your suppliers, whether they are, US based or overseas. You have got to make sure that you have a really good relationship with the people at the UPS store in your town or the people at the post office, right? All of these things are important because you got to get stuff out by Christmas. You got to know what's the last possible deadline I can use to get something to somebody by Christmas, right? It's very, very important, especially right now. And then just be wise, when you're starting an online business, sometimes people just buy stuff and put it up on Amazon without really going through the proper channels for things. So, for example, you've got to make sure that you incorporate an actual business, be an LLC. You've got to make sure you have business insurance. If you sell products, you sell hair oil and somebody's hair turns green, you're going to get sued, right? So, you've got to make sure that you've got the right legal folks in place and you've got good insurance. You also have to make sure that if you have invented a product, that you trademark your product name. There's a lot of fraud and craziness that goes on, particularly like even on the Amazon platform. But if you have taken the time to properly register and trademark your business, Amazon will kick that person that is bootlegging your stuff off if you've got your paperwork in order. So it is extremely important for you to make sure that you are a legit real business when you're out here selling anything to anybody, but especially if you're selling online and there's not a store somebody can come to and talk to someone. Now let's talk about branding. I want you to think about branding in terms of this. You brand a name and you market a product. And so, really, the branding is the difference between selling something and running a business so that it's a business to last. Like you're going to come out with more products, more services. You want to be memorable. There's a reason why people pay the kind of money they pay for Yves Saint Laurent, Nike, Polo, Prada, right? Because they built those brand names and you want to build a brand name for yourself. Now, in my case, my brand name is I'm the small biz lady, right? There's only one, right? What does Beyonce say? One of one, the only one, right? So you want to figure out how can you brand your business so that people get drawn to the brand and then the products and services. And so that's something we're going to talk about now. I want you to think about branding really is like living with consistent values. And marketing is like one good shot at sales. Who are you? What is your brand promise? What is the reason behind your business? That's your brand, right? I mentioned to you guys earlier that my mission is to end small business failure. Well, that's actually a brand statement. That's everything I do is about educating entrepreneurs so that we can eliminate this crisis of small business failure. So you need to think about what that is for your business and communicate it through your marketing. Now, the other thing you've got to do is be able to tell people why they need you. Like, what is your value proposition? Messaging is everything. And if you really don't know how to communicate your solution, it's very easy for your customers or potential customers to look right past you. So you've got to make sure you can't assume people know all the things you do, and you want to make sure that you position yourself as a value added. How do you solve problems? You have to be outcomes based in the content that you write about your product or service. And then you've got to be consistent with your brand. That the one of the things that I see is, people put it out there and they don't follow it up, or they haven't updated their logo in 17 years, and you don't necessarily have to change your logo. You can just change your color story. But you want to figure out what you could do so that your brand stands out. And you want to think about your brand in a couple of different ways. Yes, it is logo, it is website, it is your tagline and your color story, but it's also how your website looks, how your company materials look, what is the customer experience like, who's answering your phone, how fast do you get back to people. All of that is branding too. So as I just mentioned, how you engage with your prospects on your website. Guess what, guys? Nobody wants to buy something from an anonymous company on the internet. Post a phone number they can call, post an address that they can send a note to. You don't necessarily have to use your home address. You can get a PO box, or there's plenty of companies that will give you another physical address, but you've got to make sure that they know what state you're in and who you are, and that there's an email that somebody actually responds to on your website. And that's even true of your social media as well. A lot of times, people might be sending you DMs. Are you responding to that? Do you know what that is? I'm more of an email person than a DM person, but I still have to check that if because there's plenty of people who are DM people, right? So you've got to make sure that you're communicating your brand across everywhere. But here's the thing, brands are always under construction. Building a brand is a slow process. And here's what you really have to understand, it takes time to win customers because you got to build trust and you have to communicate what your character is of your business. But you can destroy your brand like that. One ridiculous tweet or aligning yourself with, a pedophile felon, and then all of a sudden your name gets leaked in some emails. You see people all over the internet this week resigning from stuff because they were associated with someone who was a criminal. So you want to make really sure that everything you're saying about your brand and your business is consistent online. So now let me talk to you guys about marketing without buying ads. The first thing you've got to do if you want to market without ads is have a really great landing page for all of your offers. You have your website, but you want a specific sales page or landing page for all of your offers. You also want to do live demonstrations of your product. Those of you that have things that people can wear, or that, makeup tutorials, all this kind of stuff. You want to do live demonstrations of your product and even your expertise. Like doing this webinar today is a demonstration of my gifts doing training for entrepreneurs. So you also want to show your personality and potential customers. You can always make your employees superstars online. I had a client one time, they sold yarn on the internet, and they did an amazing job with social media profiling their employees. They had some older employees that were like super into Downton Abbey, and they used to have them, do special yarn things. They gave people little projects they could do while Downton Abbey was on. And they grew a huge following for these three older ladies that worked at this yarn place, and they were like, okay, this week's episode is about this. We're going to knit this. And people loved it. So there's lots of different things you can do to engage people. And it doesn't always have to be you if you have somebody else in your business that you can highlight and profile other than yourself. And then sending freebies to influencers is always a win. Influencers have a lot of reach to target audiences, and it doesn't have to be like the Kim Kardashian type influencers. Literally, if somebody has 10,000 to 100,000 people following them, that's a good influencer to engage with. So it doesn't have to be somebody with a million folks. All right. Now, let's talk about SEO. SEO is really important. You do want to make sure that the titles that you're using for your content, the descriptions have, that you've gone into one of these AI tools and asked it to make sure that it's SEO ready. That's very, very important. If you're doing the blog thing, longer blogs have better SEO than shorter ones do. So I only publish content that's 1,500 to 2,000 words only. So that's something that you want to think about as it relates to search engine optimization. You can also do a crowdfunding campaign. Now, listen, this only works if you have a product that is visual and that you have a great story behind it, because a lot of the people that fund crowdfunding campaigns are funding it because of the story you told about the business. They honestly sometimes could care less. And about actually receiving the product, people buy the story and people support the story. So the average crowdfunding campaign in the United States only generates $10,000. So it's not about the money, you guys. It's about the potential customer list. Who's interested in this is really what you're doing when you do a crowdfunding campaign. Running surveys are extremely effective, and social media is the best thing in the world to help you run a great survey. Now, everybody hates to fill out surveys, so you always want to incentivize people and you know, give a little gift card or give a free ebook or give a free consultation session with you, whatever it is. But you do want to make sure that you incentivize people to fill out surveys because people hate surveys. But the other thing too is don't make that survey too long. That survey really can't be more than 10, 12 questions. If you make it longer than like 3 minutes, they're going to throw up on it and say no. So be thoughtful about how you develop a survey before you reach out to people to complete it. And lastly, you can reach out to affiliates, figure out who has your audience, and give them a cut of the sale, right? I mean, 10% of nothing is nothing, but if you can give away 20% and get somebody else actively promoting your product or service, that is a win. And that is a win all day long. Now, the other thing you can do is pull a media stunt. Now, let me warn you guys about this. You can pull a media stunt, but what I need you to understand is that you're only going to do that one time. So you better go big or go home, right? You remember when everyone used to do those flash mobs and stuff? That's what I mean. Like it's got to be something big, bunch of people involved, or no media outlets covering it. So just be thoughtful about stuff like that. You also can get your product featured in a gift guide. That's another great thing you can do. Holiday gift guides. There's Mother Day gift guides, Father's Day, back to school, 4th of July. I mean, there's so many different kinds of gift guides. So that's another great way to get some publicity. And then you can always create a lead magnet or an amazing free offer on your website. Because it's really important for you to be always building your email list. And that also gauges interest. If someone downloads a free tool off your website, that is what we call a marketing qualified lead. If they take another action after that, then that becomes a sales qualified lead. So you want to make sure that you have good lead magnets on your website, and you probably should be updating them 2 to 3 times a year. So don't just, you know, put one ebook up there and forget it. Don't do that. And then start publishing content consistently. Very important. All right, so I have a resource for you guys that I'm going to give you guys today. It is a free ebook called Your First 5 Customers Online. And if you guys want it, go right here to this QR code and download it. Now, I have a little survey that you're going to have to fill out, just asking you a couple of questions about whether or not you've enjoyed today's presentation. And you got to fill that out. And then when you do, you'll automatically, when you submit all of your information, you are going to um, get the presentation. Now I have 1 or 2 more slides that I'm going to do to give you guys some action items to wrap you all up. So let me give you that. So here are your next steps that I want you to do um, for for this. I want you to audit all of your online sales channels, and I want you really to refine your signature offer and your product descriptions and exactly who you're chasing for business. I want you to build a new lead magnet. If you haven't dusted off one in a while, build a new one. And then strengthen your follow up systems, email, sales funnels, all that good stuff. And remember, people do not buy when they understand you, they buy when they feel understood. All right, this is my contact information for those of you who want to reach me, follow me. I am the Small Biz Lady on almost all platforms. And I would love it if you guys connect with me on LinkedIn. I use my government name on LinkedIn, which is Melinda Emerson. So if you all have questions now, I would love it if you guys would pop them in the chat. And I'll be happy if Philip, if you can help me kind of curate what's going on in the chat. I am very, very happy to answer any questions.
Linda, this was absolutely awesome. And I was kind of glued to my seat here, just making sure that I caught everything. There's a ton of information that you shared, and thank you. I want to get back because as you were switching it up, I want to make sure that I got that QR code. So I want to make sure that everyone gets that as well. Now, there's a ton of questions that have come through.
I saw somebody in the chat said, dang, can you go back to that last slide? I was like, all right, all right. I know how y'all do me. So I was trying to, when you popped on, I felt pressure. So I was like, let me keep going. But
that's when you know the you talking to your people. So they they made sure to go back. Now the first question comes to us from Dr. Denise, and she wants to know and this is about AI. What is the best way to use AI to create SEO for product descriptions? And then what are some of the best prompts that you can think about?
Oh, now that's a whole other presentation that I give called AI for content creation, but
Hmm,
I'm gonna give you a little cheat code though.
okay.
So the first thing you want to do is take your existing product description and put it in an AI tool. My favorite AI tool is ChatGPT. That is the one that I use most often. You do need to use a paid version of it though. Don't be out here teaching its system how to use you. You want to use it. So you want to use a paid version of chat, and you want to go in and put your existing product description in and say, can you enhance this and make it more SEO friendly? And tell it how many words it needs to be. So you want to say, you know, it is, I need a 60-word product description. You want to tell it the tone. Like whenever I write things, I tend to use sassy and professional. But you need to write the what makes sense for you and how you talk to your customers. I would also say you want to tell it who the target audience is. My target is women 40 plus with natural hair. I'm just using that. And then you say, I'm using this on Amazon or I'm using this on my website. Tell it where it's going. And then the last thing I want you to do is say, ask me any question one by one to clarify this task. Do that, and you will get what you need. And the longer it thinks before it gives you an answer, the better the answer is going to be.
Mm. Cheat code, cheat code. Thank you so much for that, Melinda. I want to jump down a couple of questions, and then we're going to come back up to Dr.
Sure.
Stacy. She had another question. Stacy Pearl was on the call earlier this week, and she's making sure, number one, that she's going to apply for grant funding through Verizon Small Business Digital Ready, but then that she also takes a ton of courses on Verizon Small Business Digital Ready. Now, she has a question about getting customer reviews.
Mm-hmm.
What do you recommend, Melinda, to reconnect with your audience to request customer reviews?
Well, I mean, it's like what they say in the Bible, right? You have not because you ask not, right? So you have to go in and ask. Now, the best time to ask is right after they just bought from you, right? Like no later than 10 days after you've delivered a product or service. But let's say it's been 3 months. So what? Go ask them. Ask them anyway.
Mhm.
And if you have something else you can give them, like a free ebook or a coupon or something, add that to the email, especially if it's a late ask.
Good response, and I don't even have to go to church on Sunday. You taught from the good book,
Well,
uh, and from the King Homeboy version even. So
I
now
love to tell people that the Proverbs 31 woman, she was a businesswoman. So I know about it, right?
there you go. All right. Now, you mentioned ebooks. Now, our next question comes to us from Dr. Erlinge
Mhm.
Elise May. And the question is, how long should an ebook be?
It all depends. So I typically like ebooks to be about 2,000 to 2,500 words. So think about it like if you wrote a book, it would be probably about the length of like one chapter or something. It doesn't have to be long, but here's what it does have to be. It needs to look like something valuable, and you need to put your best information in it. Because here's the thing, some of y'all out here writing stupid ebooks that aren't saying anything. And please don't think somebody's buying anything from you if you're giving them some watered down mess. You need to make sure that whatever ebook you decide to write solves a low hanging fruit problem for the person you're trying to engage to do business with you. Don't
Mm,
just go on um do not just go online and go in the chat or something, be like, write me an ebook on this. You got to show some real expertise, first of all. And I personally really like to use chat for titles, for bullets, for outlines, but I don't use chat to write signature content for me.
mm,
Because that's, you know, they'll write it for somebody else just like you if you
mhm.
use the same prompt. So you can use chat for ideas. Sometimes I might, if I don't like how something's worded, I might say, check, can you rephrase this for me? And it'll do it and give it right back to me. But I don't write original signature content that I want to be known for with an AI tool. I do not do that.
Understood. And thank you for making sure that folks understand authenticity is important in ensuring that you reach your audience. And then, like you said, making sure, I think you finished with this quote, not when they understand you, but when they are understood.
Feel understood. Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
All
100%.
right. So now we got to go back to this review site because a lot of folks, they have customers, but they want to demonstrate that know, like, and trust. And so Barry, he says, how do you determine which review site to request a review? Now I know some folks get them on
Request
Google.
all of them. Request all
All
of them. You know what I mean? Because some people like to give reviews on Yelp. Some people like to give reviews on Amazon. Some people like to give reviews on, Google reviews or Facebook reviews. It doesn't matter. You just
okay.
want to ask for a review. And I would give, when you send out the email asking for the review, I would put four options in there. Give them the link to your Yelp. Give them the link to your, yeah, LinkedIn QR code. What, like give them options so that depending on how they flow, it's easy for them to click a link and take that action and support you very quickly.
Okay. Okay. Now, this is a good question. It comes from an anonymous attendee. Now, the question is about newsletters.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts about a newsletter with a call to action throughout the newsletter? And then how many words do you feel like you need in order to make an impact?
Okay. Well, I think newsletters are great. I actually have my Small Biz Lady Buzz newsletter I put out every Wednesday. I also publish my Small Biz Lady newsletter to LinkedIn. So I have almost 15,000 subscribers on my LinkedIn newsletter outside of my actual email list. Now, the thing about newsletters is not about the length, it's about the value of the information. You can always put a little promo for whatever you're working on in there, but your newsletter needs to be about them and not really about you because you want people to actually open it. And those of you that are putting out newsletters, if you're not having at least a 20% open rate on your newsletter, you got to do better. Your content's not, it's your title, your content, time of day. You got to figure out what's going on with why people aren't opening these emails.
Mhm. Okay, okay. All right, now I got to ask, we're talking about newsletters still. You do it once a week and
Mhm.
you get 15,000
I have
subscribers
15,000 just on LinkedIn.
just on
my
LinkedIn.
my email list is double that.
So why not multiple times per week?
It's not necessary. People are bombarded with emails, so you want to make sure that when you send an email, it is valuable, it is good. People love my newsletter. Like people tell me all the time, I love your newsletter. Like, and what I do is I always write a little fresh 300-word article in it. I tag whatever my Monday blog post was in my blog. I always highlight my latest podcast, and I give a tech tip of the week. And if I'm doing a free webinar promo for myself or someone else, I'll put a link in a little highlight for the promo of my latest webinar or whatever you can sign up for to engage with me as well every week.
So it's packed full of information, it's packed full of content.
I got five things in my email every time in my newsletter. My newsletter is probably long. I mean, other people have those that are shorter, but I mean, I got a big list, so I think people like my newsletter. So.
I think so. And so I think it also answers this next question from Dr. Elise May again
Mhm.
on creating signature content based on their specialization, if the content can be longer, and it sounds like it can be.
Oh, 100%. I mean, if you're writing blogs at this point, you really should be writing 1,500 to 2,000 word blogs because that's going to help you with the SEO, especially if you take the time to put it through an SEO tool to make sure that it's going to, rank high in organic search, on through Google and other search platforms.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to finish up with this one case study. Then we're going to go back to Emily, and then we're going to let everybody get back to work. But this
Mhm.
one comes from Dr. Denise, and she says that her demographic is Black women, and she makes sure that her messaging talks to us. However, in the building stages, she's attracting just about everyone, and she promises that she's not doing that on purpose. but from referrals to opportunities falling into her lap, it's tough for her to turn down the money as she's a
I
100.
wouldn't turn down anybody. Let me explain this to you. Your niche is about who you spend money chasing. If another business that's not your exact target calls you and says, "Hey, can you do this?" and you can, ethically and honestly, you can do the work, take the money. I mean,
Mhm.
look, I specialize in coaching women entrepreneurs, but trust and believe, I coach a lot of men too. So it doesn't really matter. So it's really, really important for you to focus your niche in terms of your outward messaging. But if some other kind of business calls you, girl, take the money.
Taking money. All right, all right. Now I know we're going to bring Emily back up real quick and
She said, say less.
say less. Say less. Now, if you have a podcast, can you include that in your link to your podcast as well in your newsletter?
Oh, yeah, I do every week. Mhm.
There we go.
Yep.
All right, Melinda, I wish we had more time, but now we got to go to commercial break too. Emily is going to share a little bit more information with us as well.
All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Melinda. That was such a great workshop. Thanks so much for being here and being able to share all that amazing knowledge with all of us. Like I mentioned earlier in when I gave my overview that we are in grant season, so just wanted to quickly talk through the Digital Ready grant, as I know a lot of you are probably interested. So in general, Digital Ready has awarded over 14 million grants to about 1,400 small businesses throughout the US. So this money really does go out. It really goes to small business owners. It's not just being held somewhere. So right now for this round, we'll be awarding about 50 small businesses $10,000 grants. The application closes on December 10th at 11:59 p.m. PST. So you still have probably a little less than a month to apply, which is plenty of time. And applicants will be informed the week of January 12th, 2026, whether or not you will be receiving the awards. So some of the ways that you can use some of this grant funding is for wages and benefits, inventory, payables, past due bills, other operational costs. The only thing, not the only, one of the things that it can't be used for is to start a business or to pay debt associated with closing a business. Um, so the big question is, am I eligible? How do I become eligible? So the eligibility is pretty standard eligibility across most grant programs. You have to be for-profit business. A business must be based in the U.S., Puerto Rico, or the U.S. Virgin Islands. You should be able to provide a valid W-9 and a direct deposit. Um, a business owner, if you do have multiple businesses, you're only allowed to apply with one of your businesses. The business must be in good standing. And then also, you would probably sign a good faith agreement just about continuing with the grant. And then there is no post-grant reporting that is required. So to unlock the application, you have to be a Digital Ready user. It's a completely free program, like I mentioned in the beginning. And you have to complete any combination of two courses in virtual events. So it could be one course, one virtual event, two courses, two events, anything like that between July 1st and December 10th. And then have your application submitted by December 10th, 11:59 PST. Um, and so with the application, once you've completed your resources, really don't take more than 30 minutes to complete the application. We made the application short on purpose. We know everyone's busy. A lot of the things that are being asked on the application are a lot of just details about your business, talking about like business revenue, structure of your business, number of employees, things like that. So, when you go to sit down, use a Google Chrome browser. It makes it easier, works really well with the system. Gather a lot of those key details that I kind of just talked about. Make sure you have a little bit of uninterrupted time just to complete the whole application. And then also just double check your responses. Once you submit, it is submitted. And then anything else will get, if we see any duplicate responses, those get taken out. So just double check your work. Um, but yeah. So
Wow, Emily,
yeah,
oh, I'm sorry. There was a question here. Does today's event count as an eligible course?
I don't think so. But I can talk to Leah about
Okay,
that. Yeah. So and we'll talk about it.
perfect, perfect.
But yeah, here's
Wait,
the
actually,
QR
just
code.
to jump back in, Emily, I don't think it does. You actually have to do two courses inside the Digital Ready platform to qualify for the grant.
Yes, yeah.
So today's
Thank you,
webinar would
Melinda.
not count,
Yeah,
unfortunately. So
thank you.
Okay,
All right, that's all I have. Um, Back to you,
awesome.
Phil.
Well, thank you so much, Emily. And Melinda is hiding in the background, but we got to bring her back out for an encore because I want to thank her as well for this very valuable content. Emily, you both and Melinda have done a great job of making sure that our small businesses have the information that they need in order to scale, in order to reach their customers, and then now also find grant funding opportunities. So, everyone in the chat, please drop a thank you or drop a one if you appreciated today's event. We want to make sure that we celebrate our speakers on today. Melinda, I will be reaching out to you on LinkedIn and looking forward to staying connected with you. And everyone, really do appreciate everyone for being here today. Definitely, Emily, I want to take just a few moments, definitely say thank you for your partnership, the hard work that you all and your team have done. Melinda, if you have any words you'd like to share before we close things out, I definitely like to hear.
I mean, the only thing I would just say is that, listen, guys, you're one idea away from being able to do anything you want. No matter what you sell, you better know how to sell online. So I hope I've given you guys a few pearls, a few things that you guys can go and implement today. And don't forget, your website is number one. Fix your website, and then you can work on everything else. So if you've got limited resources and limited time, start there.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. So now to finish us out, thank you so much, Melinda. To finish us out, Leah, or excuse me, Emily has shared some information with us, and that's really helped us out. Gave us some additional details about the Digital Ready $10,000 grant program. Again, those applications are open until December 10th, 2025. So we encourage you all to definitely pursue that. Now, thanks again, Emily, for being here with us. And that concludes our 2025 webinar for today. But please feel free to join us for upcoming webinars by scanning the QR code at the bottom. And then there's a little bit of information too that I want to share about the Buy Black platform. Let's see here. Yes. Okay. So here's our upcoming webinars that we encourage everyone to scan and make sure to stay engaged with all of our upcoming content. Please scan that QR code. And then next up, we're going to talk about Buy Black. Buy Black, our mission is to create meaningful economic opportunities for the entrepreneurs in our community and do that within our community. So we encourage you to sign up to the directory, the Buy Black directory, and then once you're ready to pursue certification as a Black owned business. Now, I also want to talk about our partnership with SCORE. This is really important because we recognize that there are times when your firm needs additional assistance. So, USBC has partnered with SCORE to get answers to your questions very quickly. And what we found is that research tells us that small business owners who receive 3 or more hours of mentoring report higher revenues and increased growth. So, SCORE Mentoring is a free service offered to businesses served by USBC. SCORE mentors meet with you one on one to support your success by providing experienced advice, consulting on best practices, and educating you on small business topics. So, feel free to scan this QR code to register for your mentor today. And then last up, I want to talk about office hours. This is a really fun and exciting new feature at USBC. We presented in office hours every Friday for the last month, and it's really a great opportunity for you to come in and get your questions answered. So definitely stop in. It's a great one-stop shop for all of the innovative and cutting-edge resources. We do this on Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Friday until the end of the year, unless it's a holiday. We encourage you to drop in on us, have coffee with us if you want, and network as well with others that attend office hours. No registration required. All you got to do is drop in. Now, last up, we again want to thank you all for attending. We encourage you to follow us on social media at usblackchambers.org. And if today's conversation, if this webinar prompted any additional questions and interest, please feel free to contact us at programs@usblackchambers.org. So with that, on behalf of our president, Ron Busby Sr., our board, our staff, we thank you all for attending. And we thank you, Emily. Thank you, Melinda, for being here. You guys have a great day and a great weekend.